Thank you, Chairwoman Lowy and Ranking Member Granger, for providing members with the opportunities to share our thoughts on the fiscal year 21 appropriations bill. I've come to urge funding to address the greatest existential threat to life on Earth, climate change. That includes investing in solutions we know that work and are ready to be deployed, as well as robust funding for our nation's climate change research programs to pave the way for a clean energy future. From increasingly intense storms to sea level rise, from extreme heat to prolonged droughts, the Earth's climate is making its displeasure known, and it comes at an ever-growing cost to us all. In your backyard, it's in my backyard, and there's no debate among anyone who is qualified to debate about the merits of the science. We have to take unparalleled action over the next decade to ensure that the global temperature remains below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The fourth National Climate Assessment concluded we must, quote, act aggressively to adapt to current impacts and mitigate future catastrophes, and confirmed that, quote, without significant global greenhouse gas mitigation and regional adaptation efforts, climate change is expected to cause substantial losses to infrastructure and property and impede the rate of economic growth over this century. In spite of that, the Trump administration has repetitively sought to severely cut or even eliminate climate research programs. The president's 2021 budget requests cut climate science. It eliminates the Department of Energy's ARPA-E program, which creates the renewable energy technologies necessary to decarbonize our economy, cuts the EPA's Air and Energy Research Program by 65%, cuts the NOAA Office of Oceanic and Atmospheric Research by 40%. Without strong funding for these programs, we will not be equipped to address the greatest challenge that is facing our species. We're going to do two things. Number one, we must invest in those climate solutions that we already know work. Across the world, there are legions of nations with similar, if not better, qualities of life who use less than 50% of the energy the US does per dollar of GDP. It's because they've recognized that policies that make us more efficient in our energy use yield positive returns. Now, what that means, to dumb it down, is that even if you are a tinfoil hat-wearing climate denier, your economic interest alone is sufficient to embrace those policies. That'll require new incentives for low-carbon technologies, but even more important is the elimination of subsidies for fossil fuels and associated regulatory barriers to economic and environmental sustainability. We have the opportunity to green up our federal building and vehicle fleet, and we must invest in our clean energy economy by funding the DOE's Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy at $2.8 billion for its critical programs. Second thing we have to do is to invest in a massive RD&D effort for those areas of the economy where we do not have low carbon alternatives. For many industrial products, including steel, concrete, cement, and fertilizer, fossil fuels use a chemical rather than fossil energy input. And if we are going to get to a zero net carbon economy, we are going to have to invent wholly new ways to make those materials. That's going to require robust funding across the entire government, including NOAA, EPA, DOT, DOE, Energy Office of Science, and the Department of Defense. Specifically, $582 million advanced research projects, $94 million in energy innovation hubs, and $130 billion in the Energy Frontier Research Center. I hope the committee will consider these proposals. I look forward to working with any of you in any way I can. Chairman Lowy, thank you again for having me here today, and thank you for your leadership.